Let's face it, politics is an absolute joke. I'm Matt Richardson, and I've always suspected that literally anyone could do a better job of running the country than the clowns in Westminster. So I decided to put it to the test. Each week I sit down with a special guest who's suddenly and unexpectedly been elected Prime Minister and advise them on 3 policies they think will transform the country. Welcome to I Am Prime Minister. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome our newest Prime Minister to the show. Prior to high office, he was best known as a stand-up comedian with 2 Edinburgh Comedy Award nominations to his name and appearances on Mock the Week, Russell Howard's Stand-Up Central, Alan Davies' As Yet Untitled, and many more. This year he's touring his new show, Another Round, but his main focus for now is running the country. Prime Minister Carl Donnelly, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
I feel reassured that you're Prime Minister.
I mean, I think I've probably got a good temperament for it.
You've got the perfect temperament for it.
I'm quite, not that it sounds like I'm bigging myself up, but I'm quite unflappable. I'm quite, I think especially since I'm a father now, and like having a kid makes you, if you're even, if you've got any stress issues, that will bring it to the surface.
I also think we've never had in real life, well, you are real life Prime Minister now, but not to pull the thread of the concept, you are the most mellow guy we've had to be Prime Minister.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like to think of myself as mellow.
You're so mellow, man. You're such a pleasure to be around. And I think the country...
needs me.
Yeah, it really does.
UK needs me at this point.
You know what? It's one of those things, isn't it, where I think you're the kind of guy where you go, he should be Prime Minister, but he would never run for it.
Well, that's the rule, isn't it?
It's the kind of perfect thing.
Anyone who runs for it shouldn't be allowed, is the old sort of adage in politics.
It's the same as like comedy, right? Anyone who tries to be a stand-up
comedy
shouldn't do stand-up.
Yes, it should be an instant bar.
But you feel the most on stage, especially as, you feel like the kind of guy that, I didn't really want to be a comedian, but it sort of fell in my lap.
I mean, it did. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah?
Well, I didn't. I sort of had never even considered stand-up. I'd never even watched it, and I was about 20. I think, I'd seen videos or, bloody Delirious by Eddie Murphy when I was 13 with my mates. And I was aware of stand-up, but my ex-wife, when we first met, took me to a comedy club, and I was just like, ooh, this is nice. And then... I just got well interested. I was like, this is really fun. I've never been to a comedy club. It's well exciting the first time you go to a comedy club. You're like, do you know what I mean? It feels like if you have no concept of what a comedy club is. I'd only ever seen, the DVDs or not even then, it's videos of like big, like bloody theatres and Billy Connolly doing that. And like, I didn't realise there was little clubs, underground bars and stuff with comedy in. So it felt like finding out.
The first time I went to one was my first gig.
Your first?
My first gig is the first time I went to a proper little comedy night.
I mean, who's the other person I know? John Robbins has that as well. First gig he ever did was his first ever comedy show in Witnessed.
Oh, no, so I'd been to see Lee Evans at Wembley and I'd been to see Jimmy Carr, but the first time I went and did a gig, and it was like 50 people in an SU, that was the first time I did stand-up.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
well, forget all that because you're not doing it anymore.
I've given up, mate. I'm now.
Although it would sell a tour, wouldn't it? Being PM.
Yeah, but would people go out and see you like to do comedy? Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's much crossover.
Would you ever consider politics away from comedy? Are you a political guy?
No, do you know what? I used to be well into politics, and then I sort of just stopped giving a shit, which sounds a bit rude, but I think it is detrimental to your mental health if you're too invested in it. Anyone I know is a bit, mental. Not in sort of actual real terms. I'm talking like, just a bit off and they're constantly just like moaning about stuff that isn't that important. They tend to spend a bit too much time following these sort of ebbs and flows of politics and culture.
I'm banging to it and it's so bad. And when I have a couple of weeks away from it, I feel way better.
I'm in a sort of podcast I do. We've got like these
Two
weird,
vegan idiots,
TVI. So if people want to listen, it's absolutely non-politics, but there is loads of little weird WhatsApp. We've got a WhatsApp community of our patrons, and like there's loads of spin-off groups. There's like the main one, and then there's loads of like there's one for people that watch Married at First Sight, and it's like
really
stuff like that. But there's a politics one that I joined. just out of curiosity. And it's so, I mean, I literally had to bow out after about a month because I was like, there's too many messages coming through. It's non-stop. Like, you don't check.
How many people are in this group?
In the politics one, I wouldn't know. I reckon there's probably only about 30 people. But like, you know, there's ones that have got like over 100 people in it. It's just chaos.
And are you and Julian, who you host the podcast with, in all of them?
Well, no, we're not in all the spin-offs. There's loads of spin-off ones that I'm not part of because I just don't want to be part of it.
Also, that's full time.
Yeah,
just
managing
managing
they're all
WhatsApp
archived
groups.
and muted, so they are. I check them when I want to. They're not pinging on my phone all day.
Mate, but, I'm in some stag do groups that I would struggle to keep up with.
I once got added to a 250 person Tottenham WhatsApp group for a podcast that I've popped on a bunch of times. Called The Fighting Cock. It's a really cool, funny Tottenham podcast. But they added me to like their sort of, again, it was like a Patreon thing. There was 250 Tottenham fans, and I swear to God, like I hadn't muted it or done any of the stuff to like. And within about it was like wearing my battery down because it was so non-stop. My phone was hot all the time. And in the end, I was like, I've just got to leave. I cannot be part of this.
Yeah, man, that is a hardcore. Now you're Prime Minister and away from your podcast.
Yes.
We're going to go through some policies. Can I hear your first policy, please?
Well, weirdly, I think actually, when you said about people that want it probably shouldn't be allowed, I think this is. I'm sure this is an idea that has been not mooted in real like actually to happen, but I'm sure I've discussed it with enough people, and they've gone, yeah, I've thought that is about how I think politicians, like the houses of parliament, should be, instead of like elections, I think we should have it as done as like a jury duty type affair, where basically you just get picked to be an MP for a year, at random, essentially. If you fit if you're over 18 and under a certain age, I think there should be a top end as well,
and not like a criminal, like a hardcore kind of fraudster.
Yeah. So you've got a clean record. Maybe they vet your social media just to see you haven't said anything absolutely abhorrent. But like basically, maybe you'd still have like the civil service. You'd have the people that run the actual shit that happens, but the actual sort of the actual houses, the house where things are up for debate and the votes are done to get laws in. I think it's like overwhelmingly should be people that are just picked at random. A cross section of society, and you get a year, you get really well paid, the job you've got has to allow it, and then you just spend that year in running the country. And
I suppose this goes back to when the House of Commons was first introduced. They were meant to be common people.
Yeah.
They never were.
No, of course not.
You know what I mean? Like, it was all like the landed gentry.
The common man was, throwing their shit out of their window in a bucket. So I don't think.
However, even though you look at it then, there are massive issues that I suppose aren't dealt with because normal people aren't that involved. Even though now, you can run for an MP and you could have had a normal career before. I think this is a great idea because I think obviously a lot of policies, for example, at the moment, the 2-child benefit cap, things like that. If people with lots of children, even though, lots of MPs do have lots of children because they've got, a whole a title way to do things. It would be really good. It's, like you say, jury service is about, a fair trial. This would be a fair government.
Yeah, no, I think there's something about that, it being a duty rather than a choice. I think is also quite a nice thing, isn't it? That's the thing. Yeah, like you say with jury duty, like no one really wants to do it, but actually once you're there, you realise, well, I'm here now. I've got to see it through to the end.
Have you done jury duty?
No, I'd love to.
So I never have, but my other half, Sam, has, and she was really annoyed about it. And then,
annoyed about doing it, or did she get? Yeah. But then when she did it, did she do it as well?
Yeah, she did it. She did it, but it was one of those where, especially if you're self-employed,
yes,
you don't keep getting paid. And 3 days in, she hadn't been picked for jury, and then when she got picked, the guy kept fainting in the booth. Box, I don't know what it's called. So nothing ever happened.
Right.
So it was just a load of sitting around.
Well, I suppose that's the downside is if you get a really crap case as well, and it's really boring.
Yeah, mate, you want like a proper good one, don't you?
I know it sounds horrible, but you want deaths. Don't get me wrong. I'm not as cynical as a lot of people about. when they say, "Oh, they're all just in it for themselves," I actually think most of them probably. I'd say the majority of politicians get into it for good reasons, even on all sides of the political divide. But I just reckon once you're in it and you realise just how, how hard it is to do anything. You know what I mean? I think a lot of them just get so jaded that, and then they realise there's an end point to it. Unless you see yourself as like going this here, moving all the way up to the top levels of politics. I reckon a lot of them, once they're in it and find it a bit fucking hard and shit. And imagine you're just trying to get your potholes sorted in your constituency, and all you're getting non-stop is people online going, "You're fucking Illuminati" or this stuff.
Mate, so my current MP, this conservative, he's a Lib Dem. He did a big meeting recently in where I live in the village, and we all went. And it was very exciting. And he was going, what do you all think about Israel Gaza? And everyone's going, well, there's a street lamp that doesn't work. And he's like, oh my God, I thought I was going to fix the world, not this one road.
There's some neighbours on our road currently that just will not put their bins back in their garden. They leave their bins on the pavement. And that is unacceptable. It's a walkway, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, mate. It's awful.
It's attracting fly tipping. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I won't lie. I'm of that age now. I did contact the guy. I contacted Merton Council, right?
And, yes, of course you did.
Nothing, mate. They've done nothing. They haven't sent them. Send him a message. Get in touch.
Oh, so we've got one he's good now, but the one before, who was a conservative, Victoria Prentice.
Oh yeah, I know
she was the Attorney General. You'd never get anything back. Her dad was an MP, then she was an MP. Her granddad was an MP. So this guy is from round here, so it works, But it's taken him years. But I think this is a great idea. Countries have tried to do this before. So Ireland has a citizens' assembly that votes and provides recommendations on policy issues.
Didn't Iceland try something like it after their economic crash?
They did indeed. And France has the Citizens' Convention for Climate, which advises on climate issues. And that is made up of local citizens. Okay. And it goes way back. So ancient Athens used to have a lottery system to appoint citizens to public roles, which is exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. I think this is such a good idea because, you need like single mums sat next to millionaires and compromise come out of that.
Yeah, that's it. It is that thing once you get to a point when everyone's sort of, or the majority of them are from the same sort of school. It doesn't matter if you're Labour or Conservative. Most of them went to the same schools. And
but even once you've been in even if you've got an MP that's been in Parliament for 10 years, like they become that, don't they?
Well, because that's all. It's such a weird sheltered life as well. And I do think, the amount of stick they get must slightly wear them down to the being like, I'm just getting shit all the time. I might as well start doing something for myself. And, a lot of them then start using it for their own ends and planning for the aftermath and making contacts. And, that's what I think it should be. There should be a set limit on it as well. I don't think you should be an MP for life.
I agree. The only good thing I think we do is, obviously all the cabinet ministers.
Yeah.
They're still MPs. So they're going off and doing so your foreign secretary and you're dealing with the Middle East, but you still have to go and deal with someone whose wall's fallen down.
Well, yeah. And you're
still in your constituency. I think that is important.
And I do like that thing that we don't have. Like America, I think it's a terrible thing where anyone can just suddenly just become a... something like... No, and this isn't just saying it because of someone like Trump, but like the fact that somebody who's just a billionaire with a platform can be like, I'm going to be the Republican nominee, and they can just do it. And it's like, I like the fact that our Prime Minister isn't, sort of an elected Prime Minister. Like they are sort of just an MP who has to put their name forward in their party. They've got to win a little internal thing.
Would there still be parties in your system?
Huh?
Would there still be parties?
Not really. I think it would be proper, just proportional representation, I suppose. But without elections. But I suppose then it's just saying, then instead of elections, you could just have sort of a vote every few years on here's the top 10 topics that we want to hear what you want, and then they go back and they work it out.
I'm not going to lie, I wasn't expecting to fix politics today.
It's done. We're bringing it.
This is a legitimately good idea. Yeah, they love to not point.
I think it was Bill Clinton's the first I ever remember doing the thumb point. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then Tony Blair absolutely ran with it,
Do you think this is something people would look forward to?
Well, I think I don't know. I think it's got to be well paid enough that people would look forward to it. I know it sounds, obviously, again, that's sort of saying you shouldn't be desperate to do it for the money, but it's got to be well paid enough that it's like a year of your life and you're getting well paid.
Well, look, there's a big thing about the payment because obviously MPs get paid quite well, but they've all got other jobs because it's
that shouldn't be allowed at all.
No.
Absolute zero clamp down on any outside consult when they're like, I'm just a consultant for a bloody oil company. It's like, that shouldn't be allowed. They say it as if I'm just consulting. So it's even
Singapore do this with their MPs. They're all paid £1 million a year, and they're not allowed to do anything else and have no other connections because that is a way to stop corruption.
Yeah. And that's sort of, and I think that is the case. People moan, like people go off about how much politicians get paid, but like I think if that's all they're getting paid and it's their job to run a country, I do think you should get paid a fair amount of money for
And
that.
I think a big thing at the moment with MPs, there's a big argument that the money is not good enough, that really the people who are at the top of the tree, why would you take a pay cut to be an MP? So as part of this, maybe the pay becomes $500,000 for a year.
1 year contract. Boom.
And also, you get called up, it's annoying, but you pay off your mortgage.
That's it, Because it's not like, if you look at the numbers, it's not going to be,
600 people a year, it's not loads of people.
No. So I think it's financially viable. And
I love this.
Yeah, I just think it'd be a nicer vibe to see if you watch like Prime Minister's question. I haven't worked out in it how it works with a Prime Minister. That's sort of the.
Well, you're Prime Minister, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm Prime Minister, but in terms of like cabinet and stuff as well, how does that, like the top people?
Well, you could bring in experts like America, so they bring in outside people to their cabinet. Yes. So Transport Secretary is normally someone from that industry.
Yes.
Look, man, I think
it works.
I think we fixed it.
I think it works.
Can we have your next policy, please, Prime Minister?
Next one is a little bit more day to day. It's basically just because yesterday it's a couple of days ago because it was half term, and me and my daughter were uptown. We went to see a show. And we was doing proper London, just day out, dad and daughter day out, and basically we were walking down through London Bridge area. She suddenly was busting for a toilet, and couldn't see a cafe nearby. There was a Hilton hotel, and so I went in and I just said to the sort of concierge, I said, can we use your toilet? And like that. And he sort of went, they're actually only for the patrons and residents of the hotel. And I went, oh yeah, but can we just, we're just passing, my daughter needs to go to the toilet, can we just use it? And he made a bit of a big deal out of it. And then he said, but today I'll let you. Like that. He said it really like that.
Ugh, I hate that.
I just think...
This time, I'll let it slide.
Yeah, and I genuinely think that members of the public should be allowed to use any toilet in any public business without any questions asked.
Yeah.
Within, obviously, if somebody comes in with their heroin cooking kit saying, can I use your bathroom? You might have a slight sort of, if it's
I think this is a real interesting point because I really feel guilty doing this. If I go into like a pub
because
or
they make you feel
Starbucks,
guilty. The whole culture makes you feel guilty.
Yeah, whereas Sam is always like, no, just go and do it. You just power through. And I've worked out hotels normally, like you asking was the mistake.
That's exactly it. Normally, if I'm on my own, I wouldn't ask. I'd go into a hotel.
But your daughter's going to make an absolute mess of it.
But I just feel like I just thought I'm just going to let him know. It was more courtesy than anything. And I just genuinely think if I owned a restaurant, a cafe, a pub, if just people are just passing and then they're out shopping, they need to go to the toilet, there is absolutely nothing wrong with them coming in and using your toilet. It's a nice egalitarian thing for society.
I think for a business, you'd then go, if I used a business, they went, come use the toilet. I'd go, well, I'm going to go and use the business.
Yes.
I've done it before. I've gone into like a Tesco and used the loo and I felt bad. I go, but I shop there.
Well, absolutely. And there's a pub just up the road from where I live that is my go-to. I'm going to use that toilet if I'm busting, I'm out and about. Just because I'm like, I've been going to that pub on and off since I was 17 years old. I think I've banked enough time that I warrant being able to use their toilets. But
I
just think it's
so
such a
right.
weird concept of this. Toilets are only for our patrons. I think it's a bit rude. Like,
we all need the loo.
Yeah, and I get it. I think the idea is to put people off that are going to do something wrong, but I think the numbers on that are so small that you shouldn't make normal people feel guilty that would at any other time use your business, but they happen to be passing and busting for it. And also, it's a toilet, mate. Like your patrons and not members of anyone else, you're gonna shit in it. It's not like let's not get like prissy about somebody shitting and pissing.
Also, I think maybe there could be a scheme where if you go and use a business and then don't use the toilet, someone can use your go on the... You know, like back
There's
in the day
a counter
with parking.
on the toilet, how many free goes people are
Yeah.
getting.
You know, like back in the day when you'd park and you wouldn't use all the parking, so you'd give your ticket to someone, which you can't do anymore.
That is unacceptable they've changed that. That is such a...
Because they're still getting the same amount of money for the parking space, for the hour.
I absolutely hate it. I used to love that. Giving away your ticket. Oh, sorry, mate, I've got half an hour left on that.
So I think there should be that for toilets, where you go, I didn't use the loo, put it back on.
One-day travel cards in London. You used to get a one-day travel card. If you came back early, you'd be coming out of tube. So go up to somebody's buying a ticket. Hey, mate, that's got till midnight, mate. Get on it.
Yeah, man, it's awful. And what makes it worse is between 1998 and 2018, the number of public toilets went down 40% nearly.
Yeah, it's hardly any anymore. You get the odd one in like parks. Like if you go to Australia, like I go to Australia a lot because I'm married to one of them, and when you're there, there's so many public toilets and so many. Every single park's got one. Every playground's got a nice one next to it for everyone to use.
They're awful, aren't they, here?
They're gross, man. Have you been to that one on...
This is a real comedian's chat. Have you been to this public toilet?
There's one in Charing Cross near the Oscar Wilde statue.
Oh, my God. It is... It's like the Saw movies.
And it's just for wheeze. It's basically like a sort of cubicle, standing cubicle with a swing door.
It's awful.
And you can see like a foot off the ground is where the door starts. You can see someone's in there weeing. You wait. But like the amount of times I have gone in there and somebody has dropped a deuce on the grate is unacceptable.
It's awful.
But
where I live, some of the parks have got those ones you put 50p in, and they're the single cute like Dalek kind of size. They're
50p
huge
as well. You
and also
pay.
they're because thank God the trains have stopped. Train stations, they were making it at Paddington 1.5 million a year.
Yeah, of course. That was that. I mean, that is a nice move. I will say that you got to give them credit where it's due. The fact that now, if you are in a major train station, you can wee for free, because that was not on, man.
Isn't it mad that isn't a human right though?
Exactly. That's what I mean, and I think it is, and I think that's why I think you should be able to walk into a cafe, and obviously you're going to be like courteous and say, "Is it all right if I just nip to the loo?" You know, they can tell if you're about to go in there and smash the place up, you know. But and a mad person who's going to do something crazy isn't put off by a patrons only sign. It's the normal people that aren't going to do anything wild, who just want to have a wee, mate. I'm busting. I had 2 coffees this morning. I'm out doing my shopping.
I think a posh hotel is always my secret, because you can just go in if you look important enough and like you belong there. They just let you walk in.
I know.
Mate, this is so good. I think this would really bring communities together, because you'd go into businesses that you wouldn't use and you'd see they're nice, and then you'd go back because you feel like you owe them something.
Yeah. And I just think it says something about society when everyone's like, no, you can't use my toilet.
This is our place.
Yeah. I just think it'd be a nicer vibe if everyone was like, yeah, of course.
I think this would fix everything.
Yes.
This is it's a bottom-up solution. People can pee where they like, then people might be more considerate, would be less individualistic.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Right. Can we have your next policy, please, Prime Minister?
This one is actually... I mean, this is the one that sounds like it's leaning towards some sort of socialist, quite aggressive. But I just think... I don't know what the amount is, but I think there should be a limit on the amount of money that anyone can have. I reckon like once you get to, say, 100 million, you know, and that's obviously... that's an obscene amount of money, but...
It's unspendable.
It is unspendable, and like I just think there should be repercussions if you get above it. You know
okay, what would the repercussions be?
Bad.
Death.
Well, maybe like, you know, basically the moment your finances tick over 100 million, you get a week to like go on a bit of a Brewster's Millions or you have to give every bit that's over that to a pot that goes into, public services. And and if you don't at the end of the week, if you've not done it, it's like Brewster's Millions in that you've got to get your money under the amount, and if you don't, then you are probably executed.
So my theory on this is when you get to 70, you have to have a zero net worth, and if for every year. And you get to live longer the less you're worth.
Right.
So, for example, you get to 70, you're worth $1 billion, you're dead. Whereas if
Instantly.
you're worth 100 million, you get to live another 5 years.
You just get put in
but
one
you have to put it
pods.
back in. Yeah, exactly. You have to put it back into the community.
Right.
So, how many billionaires do you think there are in the UK at the moment?
Oh man, it really went up, hasn't it, in the last 10 years?
Well, it went up and then down a bit. But how many do you reckon?
100.
There are 156 billionaires.
That's billionaires.
In 1990, there were 15.
Yeah, see what I mean? So imagine if they all knew that if they didn't get their money under a certain amount...
Yeah, I think it's right.
And they can't squirrel it off, it's all checked. If you tried,
you can't just put it into
Islands, dead.
Or buy a yacht. You've got to put it into something meaningful.
It's got to go into a special pot.
Or, you invest in a local business or things like that. I think that's the way to do it,
We're checking receipts. If you don't prove you've done something worthwhile for everyone with it, then you are just
but you know what?
publicly executed.
This harks back to
on
the day
ITV at 8 p.m. on a Saturday.
You can't have it on, you can't have it at ITV because they'd stop just before the ads. It'd have to be on BBC One. So I think, back in the day, in the 1800s, the 1900s, billionaires would spend money on building like Radio City Music Hall or a theatre or something that went back into the community rather than squirreling it away. So what would you have billionaires put their money into?
Well, I just think, everything, because everything is shit, isn't it? And not everything, that sounds worse than I meant. But, in terms of how things are functioning, again, this probably goes into sounds like I'm some sort of Jeremy Corbyn, nationalise everything. But you cannot claim that things like trains and that are running better or are better value for money. Everything's more expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't leave the house now without spending £30.
I would suggest if you're a billionaire and you live in a county, so for example, I live in Oxfordshire.
Yeah.
If you're the billionaire there, the most, you're worth the most, you're in charge of the roads. So it's up to you to fix all the potholes. And if there are any, you then get murdered on ITV. Because I know a very successful comedian that we're friends with.
Yeah.
I mean, probably as well. He lives in a village and he bought the manor house of a village quite near me.
Yeah.
And apparently the first day he moved in, a woman knocked on the door and went, "Hi, nice to meet you. The oven's gone in the village hall." And he went, "Okay." And she went, "Well, the people who used to live in the house would always, would provide for the village." And that's how it used to be, right? You were the person who owned the manor house and you owned the land. Therefore, you would do all that stuff. That needs to come back.
Yes. Local pub, the local pub's shutting down. No, it ain't.
Well, no, it isn't. You're subsidising it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that is the thing. If you're the billionaire, you have to subsidise all these interesting things that are happening, or all these essential things that are happening.
Yeah, and I just think it's because it's not functioning at all.
What happened to rich people putting on the opera?
I know. Yeah, just funding artists and them old days when you hear about Beethoven or all these people and they always had a rich benefactor. It's
wouldn't that be nice as a comedian to have a benefactor?
It'd be so.
You'd be like, "Oh, have you seen Bezos on the news? Fucking lucky Carl Donnelly. He's Bezos's guy."
Yeah.
He's just writing jokes for Bezos in the back room.
Yeah, I just find it weird, the mentality of them not doing it. They should do it just by choice.
Rather than going, "Oh, we're going to space," be like, "Hey, you can all have this."
Yeah. Or another super yacht when you're about fucking Roman Abramovich's super yacht.
Fucking twats, aren't they?
I know. That the money for that super yacht could have done so much more.
Exactly.
Just get a yacht. You don't need a super yacht.
And also, these super yachts, they all have secondary yachts.
Yeah.
Where they have to have stuff because obviously the main yacht can't hold everything. So they have a second yacht full of the staff and the guests and whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes me feel grim.
I just find it bad.
And the Glee won't even pay another 20 quid. Fuck me. Prime Minister, these ideas are brilliant. They're probably some of my favourite so far.
Thank you.
If anyone wanted to find out anything more about you, where would they go? I know you're on tour at the end of the year, doing town halls for your manifesto.
This is it. I'm touring my ideas. They go to my website, carldonnelly.info. Used to have .co.uk, and then during a very busy period, I forgot to renew my domain, and somebody stole it.
How much did they want for it?
It wasn't that much, but it was like a couple of £100 for my own name, and I went no. I went absolutely not. Just on principle, I'm not going to pay.
I am Carl Donnelly in the UK.
Yeah.
Your tour starts
I'm not even allowed to change my own
September,
Wikipedia. Right? Do you know this? My Wikipedia is locked off to me.
Why?
Because I once challenged podcast listeners to an old podcast I did to try and get lies past the moderators. And there was it was for a period, it was an absolute wave of lies. And then sort of it got locked, it got put on some high alert thing. And then I went in 5 years later and just tried to actually just take off some of the weirder lies and just put some basic information about me.
Yeah.
And they went, no, you're not allowed. I went, no, but I'm actually this person.
I am me.
And they just wouldn't have it.
They don't care, do they?
No.
And your tour starts in September. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, it sort of technically started already. I did Melbourne Comedy Festival. Now I'm doing Edinburgh, but I don't really count them as tour. They're sort of it is the show I'm touring, but it's, an hour version. The tour show's a longer version. Starts in September, and it's I'm spacing it out, mate. I'm not one of them people that likes knocking it all out in a month or 2 months. I'm really 3 nights here and there. That's what I don't like being away from home. I'm a real home bird.
And I would say Carl is probably one of my top 3 favourite comedians to watch in the UK. So if you don't go to that tour show, don't go to anything. Stay in the house.
I don't know. I think people should be allowed to just go to other forms of entertainment
if you want to go to the tour show and just use the loo.
Absolutely. I've always had that rule as well. But if people want to go to the toilet during my show, just
fine,
go.
Isn't it? Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, Prime Minister.
Cheers, mate.
Please go and see Carl on tour. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to I Am Prime Minister, hosted by me, Matt Richardson, and produced by Matt Needer. If you've enjoyed the show, forward it to a friend, leave us a 5-star rating or review, or write to your MP. I Am Prime Minister is a Wild Ambitions production.